Okay, so in this video, we are going to be covering trends and trend lines. So first of all, a trend is when price is moving in a direction, creating higher and lower pivot points. Now, if you think of a pivot point on the Forex chart as an area where price has changed direction. So a quick example will be this here. So you've got prices come down and this is then turned and it started to come up. So this would be your pivot point. And what the trends show is the strength of the buyers and the sellers in the market. So when the sellers are in control, the trend moves down, creating lower highs and lower lows. So right now we've got euro and US dollar chart up. And as you can see with a visual eye, price has dropped. So, but we're just going to take a little bit closer look and we're going to identify those pivot points, those lower highs and those lower lows. So the sellers are in control, they push the price down, and then, we've got a few buyers pushing price up, creating this little pivot point here. And then it's got to this high point here before the sellers are back in control and push price lower. Okay, so this was a low, it went up, create this high, and then it went lower than the previous low, creating a lower low. And then prices push back up, creating this high, but not as high as the previous high, which means this is now your lower high. And as you can see with this downtrend, it continues to do that. So price pushes down, made another lower low, and then it pushed back up, creating another lower high. And then with an uptrend, it's the opposite. So the buyers are in control. And what we're going to be creating here, or what is created here, is higher highs and lows. So we just think when price is going up is high. So you're creating higher highs and lows. So we've got buyers in control here, pushing price up to this high point here. Then price is being pushed back down. Then the buyers in control again, pushing the price higher than the previous high, making your higher high, and just so on. So you've got higher lows, higher highs, and on and on. Okay, so now you know how to identify a trend. What I'm going to cover now is how you correctly draw a trend line. So the first thing, which is absolute, is where you draw your trend line. So when you've got an uptrend, you always draw your trend line below. So price is going up, you draw your trend line below and it gives it that support. Just think price is going up and you're just kind of underneath there, pushing that up, keeping that up. And that's kind of a good way to just remember where to have your trend line. So on uptrends, the trend line is to be drawn underneath. And on a downtrend, just think it's going down. So you're kind of pushing it down, giving a little help there to keep it down. Trend lines are drawn above. So those are absolute where you draw the trend lines in that respect. However, where you draw your trend line in regards to whether you want to have it on the wicks or whether you want to have it on the body, this is very subjective. And I think this can be the hard part is getting your trend line right, which is why I would say don't just trade trend lines, just use it more of a visual to identify like levels where could help you kind of get in. Because when you've got, say, for example, a downtrend, that means the seller's in charge. So ideally you want to get in on that trend. You don't want to go against the trend. You're now looking for good sell opportunities. But sometimes people use trend lines to wait for a break and retest, which would mean, you're waiting for price to change direction and create now an uptrend, say, in this example, to get in on a buy. But what you must be careful with is knowing that if price breaks your trend line, doesn't necessarily mean that it's broke the trend. So let's just have a look here. So you've got prices coming down, it's making lower highs and lows, and then it's broke the trend line. It's even come back and retested the trend line. So some people might get caught in a buy right here, but what they sometimes fail to recognize is that it's not really shown any indication yet that it's going in a new direction, that it's now heading up. Because remember those highs and lows? So this high here is not higher than the previous high, which means we are still on a downtrend. It's not lower either, it's actually an equal high, but we need to be waiting for a good break of structure so that I can say, right, okay, now it's making higher highs and higher lows. So just please be mindful of that. And also, this is Forex, it is highly manipulated, so just be careful of traps and fake outs. And this is why it's really important to always use good risk management.